let's think about this some more. I want to tell you a story about thinking in terms of probability versus possibility. So, excuse me, I was born with Fanconi anemia. It is a rare genetic condition that affects mostly the bone marrow at some point in your lifetime, as well as a high likelihood for cancers at some point in your life as well. Now, I received a bone marrow transplant at the age of 3 after about 4 dozen or so procedures requiring anesthesia. That's another story for another day as well. But the point is, I received that treatment, and now the only real thing, aside from other comorbidities and symptoms that I've had to take care of and live with, deal with, persevere through, but mostly FA affects me now by giving me just a high likelihood of developing cancers in life. And when you really think about it, what does high likelihood mean to you? High likelihood is not a guarantee. That's what I'm going to argue here. So I've gone to many conferences involving people with Fanconi anemia and other conferences surrounding people with various chronic illnesses. And I notice that the message that a lot of doctors and scientists will give us is that cancer is an inevitability, that we have to plan for cancer to occur. But they're conflating probability with possibility. And so cancers, yes, probably will develop at some point in my life, but it is very possible that I don't get any cancers. The possibility might be a little slimmer, might be, say, I don't know, 25%, even, let's just say. And the probability of getting cancer is, let's say, for argument's sake, 75%. I like those odds of 25%. It's not probable. I should prepare for if, it's more like an if I get cancers in my life. But I should embrace the possibility. Shouldn't we embrace possibility? Because if we plan for cancer, if we plan for something bad not bad necessarily, but if we plan for a less desired outcome in the future, then that possibility never becomes possible. Whereas if we were to embrace the possibility that I could not get a cancer at some point in my life, then we could live without fear and without planning for that less desired outcome. Because when we plan for that less desired outcome, we start to attract it. I've known people who have been diagnosed with a certain health condition and given this diagnosis, and they plan their whole lives as if they're going to die from that, or if they're going to get to that less desired outcome. And it's sad to see, honestly. Now, I refuse to live that way. Not just because I would fully accept whether if I got that cancer at some point in my life. I would accept that less desired outcome. However, I don't want to plan for it. I don't want to attract it because it's still possible that that's not going to happen. So here's another example. Fanconi anemia is a auto, whatever the term is, recessive gene, which means both parents have to have the gene carried in their DNA in order for the each birth, to have a 25% chance of actually getting it, not just carrying it, 50% chance of carrying FA and 25% chance of getting it. It was probable, they didn't know, by the way, that they had carried FA, that there was a possibility. But regardless of their knowledge, there was still a biological probability that I would not have gotten FA. I would not have been the birth with FA. But the 25% chance did happen. The possible became reality. Again, regardless of the epistemic involvement in it. So let's take another thought here. During my bone marrow transplant, actually a couple years before the transplant, there was only about a 25% success rate. Again, with the 25, right? There was only about a 25% success rate for bone marrow transplants at the time. And I still received a successful bone marrow transplant from an unrelated donor. It was still possible, and the possible became a reality. No, I thankfully did not even end up with any short-term, I'll say, or long-term severe complications. Now, some get what they call graft versus host disease from transplant, where if the body doesn't accept the bone marrow, the new bone marrow, then that can cause a lot of pain, a lot of problems in the body. I'm just so thankful that I didn't have to go through any of that. So I was given a second chance at life at 3. And so fast forward to today, where I actually am doing a lot of advocacy work as the professional superhero I like to call Captain Marrow. That's what this shirt is for those of you who are on video. Captain Marrow is all about inspiring the community, my communities, the chronic illness community, disability community, etc., to become their own hero and to take charge of their life. That's what a lot of this podcast is all about as well, is taking charge of your life, taking accountability for our mindsets, and inspiring you to take charge of your life and to do something meaningful with it. Do something you want to do. Be the hero of your own story. So I'm working with nonprofits and other small businesses to get this message out there and to share my story in the hopes that it inspires you, in hopes that it inspires others. So if you want to get more information on Captain Marrow, go to captainmarrow.com. I will leave the link in the description of the video platforms as well. I sell comic books. I write, create, and sell comic books based on my personal narrative, as well as t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts like I'm wearing right now. I just launched a mug line with the Captain Marrow logo on it. So again, you can go to captainmarrow.com. If you go to /shop, you can go ahead and purchase those comic books and more.